Hello Internet, AdoptedMike here, and in this video I'm going to take a look at this test bench here from Lian. This is the Pitstop T60, as you can see. So we can tell it's an ATX or m-atx test bench. And also to the left here I also have the optional dual 120 or 140 fan cooler rack. My thoughts there was that might be perfect for rad like H100, but we will see how that works out when we get into it and start putting it together. So we could take a look here at the bottom of the box for you guys. We've got multimedia I/O ports. There's the optional fan. We've got removable HDD rack with rubber ring suspension. A lot of Lian cases do that. We've got support for a standard ATX PS2 power supply. We've got a 2.5 hard drive cage. We've got a 5.25 optical drive cage and 8 PCI slots, which I think is interesting how they actually have the slot covers in there too. A lot of test benches actually just have just have it open with a little support bracket that goes across the top. So anyway, let's take a look at what we get inside the box. So for the packing materials inside of the box, I feel pretty comfortable with how they had it packed. We've got several little cardboard boxes and some cardboard spacers as well too, along with this foam. Now, I mean, it's not the best foam. I mean, it's kind of thin here, obviously, but you have to remember this is entirely aluminum, like a lot of Lian products are. In fact, I think probably almost all of them are aluminum. But anyway, this bench is primarily aluminum, so it wasn't very heavy. This foam, I feel personally, was adequate in the packing. So when I took it all out, I mean, I didn't see anything visibly that looked wrong or out of place with all of the pieces. So we can just kind of go through quickly some of the stuff that comes with. There's a revised form for the power switch. And then we have the assembly guide, as well as all of the individual pieces. As you can tell here, most of them are individually wrapped in plastic, as you can see. And then we have the hardware and feet and stuff, all the screws. So anyway, I'm going to take everything out of its little plastic bags, and then I will start assembling it. Alright, here it is. All unwrapped, ready to go. And we'll take a quick look going through the instructions, or assembly guide rather. It's all pictured out, looks like it's described well, but there's only one way to find out. So it's time to get into it. Okay, so it's all built there, as you can see. It came out pretty nice. It's pretty lightweight. I mean, of course I don't have a hard drive or anything, or obviously a motherboard. I just got this DVD in place, mostly because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to add it later, but evidently you can. You can still access the side screws, and you can still access the screws on this side fairly easily. I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch to get this one. It is a little bit underneath, but I still think it can be accessed. In fact, probably would be best not to use the lower one and use the top one there. But anyway, so we're already working into some of my thoughts. The instruction manual actually ended up not being great. Sometimes it was difficult to tell what side you were working with. You know, a black and white kind of a smaller picture sometimes isn't the best way. As you can see throughout the video, there were times that I had to take stuff apart, put it back together the other way. Kind of frustrating, but nonetheless I got through it. A couple of thoughts here is the motherboard tray is designed in such a way that it can actually be moved this way or this way a little bit. You can see there was 1, 2, 3, there's 4 different holes. Then 2 you can fit in, so you could either move it a little bit this way, 1 more notch that way, although I don't know that I would move it 1 more notch that way. It might start to get a little bit heavy on this side, which is one of the reasons I purchased this optional bracket here to help support the motherboard there on the back side. Another point to note is here you can see the PCI brackets a little bit above. That's how it came by default, but it can be actually moved down 1 notch to where it actually will hit this, and that will allow for, if I suppose, different size standoffs, so you could have your motherboard higher off of this or not. I'm just going to be using the standoffs that came with it because I really don't feel the need to do that. I suppose even there was, well, this is probably one of the ways to do it, is they included a lot of extra standoffs. Maybe, let me see, actually I should do this off camera, but we'll do this on camera and take a peek. I'm gonna guess, yeah, and I'm gonna guess that what we can do here is 2 of these can be threaded together. Oh yeah, yeah. So you can actually make the board that much taller yet. So that's one thing to think about. I'm not sure why, but there may be reasoning that somebody would want to make the motherboard a little taller and double them up. So in that case, that's why this is adjustable. It's set at its highest point now, but obviously I'm gonna have to go back and set it at its lowest point if I want not to raise the board up a little higher. Possibly if you're doing some extreme overclocking and you wanted some more air movement around the underside of the board, then it would make sense to build it up a little bit, or maybe if you wanted to run some wires underneath it as well too. But that was a neat little option that I really hadn't seen before, but anyway it would work. And in that case too, you would always want to, or not always, or not, yeah, I meant also you would want to put a standoff here, and then you'll be able to secure this back panel down a little bit better, because right now it does move a little bit, and what I mean is you would put a little standoff right in there and it would connect. There's a hole here and a hole here. It would bridge the gap between that if you were going to run in the raised operation. A couple other things. I didn't buy this was an option, the front panel connectors there. I did not purchase that option, so I won't be able to, you know, talk about that. The hard drive cage does come out, so you can remove these screws and it slides out, because you won't be able to install a hard drive while it's in. The SSD mount that we have flip it around underneath here, well, let me see if I get a better angle. Okay, you will be able to install the SSDs in here without removing anything, as you can access these screw holes from both sides, so that is definitely handy. The power supply, you can see, just goes there. There's for the back side, flipping around for the front side, so You definitely will have some stick out from the power supply, but there isn't really much you can do about that in this particular thing. There was a secondary 5 1/4 inch brackets that I could use, and that would go right up underneath here, so you'd have two next to each other, although I didn't feel the need. I don't really think I'll want these. I mean, I barely use an optical drive now, so there really isn't much of a point of having two of them. And I mean, the handle, as you can see up top here real quick, I mean, it's a pretty sturdy handle after I figured out how to mount it correctly, which I had to take that one apart as well, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, there's really a lot going on with this thing. It's pretty customizable, even after the fact. Like I said, you can move the motherboard tray forward and back. There's plenty more standoffs. I mean, you could have easily the e-atx, not an XL-ATX. The XL-ATX is actually longer this way, which I don't think it will fit because there's only 8 PCI brackets. It might fit, but I don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure the XL-ATX is more than 8 brackets. It might be 10, and I could be wrong. But e-atx is just more this way, and there's plenty of room this way to go with the bigger motherboard. Obviously, you could even put an ITX on this thing if you really wanted to. Micro ATX, no problem. I really like the fact that it's lightweight. Man, is this thing, I mean, even when you load the hardware down, it's going to be a little heavier, but I mean, when you start off with a very heavy case and then add hardware onto it, it really makes it a bear to move. But this test station should be pretty easy. The rubber feet on the bottom stuck well. I feel good about that. I really can't think of anything off the top of my head other than let's get to the optional fan mount installation as well too. I'll get that, and then I will, I guess after that point we'll wrap the video up. So I did this on purpose actually. I ordered the red one. They didn't have a black one in stock, and I figured, well, what the hell, I'll give the red one a shot and see how it works. But basically here, there's just 4 screws on either side that you have to screw in, and that'll hold it down. Okay, so I got the bracket installed. We'll give a quick spin around here and take another look at it. My cheap lazy Susan here would cooperate and give me a consistent spin, but it's not going to. However, anyway, I'm going to be doing a video of a build in or on this test bench, and I'm going to try to utilize this for an H100 or H100i rather, which basically is just a dual 120mm all-in-one cooling unit, all-in-one liquid cooling unit. So I'm going to be attempting that build. So hopefully the hoses should reach. I don't see a problem with that, but hopefully they'll reach. And if not, you know, then this will be perfect for 2 140mm fans blowing across. There's nowhere else to mount fans on this particular case, unless you drill holes or anything like that. But I mean, I don't think that would be a huge problem, even if this thing is not able to use an all-in-one cooler. I mean, having some fans mounted there blowing across will give plenty of airflow around the components, especially with the open design. So I definitely don't think the lack of fan mounting is anything to bitch about. So yeah, anyway, that wraps up my unboxing, review, and little put together guide thing, whatever you want to call it, of the Lian Pitstop T60 Testbench. If you liked the video, go ahead and give me the thumbs up. If you didn't, go ahead and shoot the thumbs down and let me know in the comment section what you think. And if you have any questions, also post them in the comment section. I try to hit every question and try to answer it as best as I can. And as always, thanks for watching.